What's up guys? Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this checkerboard beanie. It's super easy tutorial. If you want to check out the written pattern, I do have it on my blog, which will be linked below. And make sure that you like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know which pattern you want to see next, and let's get started. So for our beanie, I'm going to be using light pink and orange, a 5mm hook. You're gonna want some scissors and a needle to thread in your ends when we're done. And I'm also gonna show you how we can make our join for our beanie pretty much invisible so you won't be able to see it with one of my favorite hacks. For your yarn, this is a great scrap yarn project. We only need about 45 grams of each color. So that's why I have these half skeins here. I have about 50 grams, a little bit more than that of each. So we should have just enough to complete our beanie. And so let's get started. So I'm going to start with this orange. We're going to want to put a slip knot on our hook. And then we're going to begin by doing chain 25. So 25 chains. Okay, so now I have 25 chains. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start chaining with our other color. So you may not have done this before. It's really easy. All you're going to do is pull through your new yarn. And then we're going to chain 15. 1, okay, just gonna tighten this a little. So your chain should look like this. We're going to chain one more and turn. Our turning chain won't count as a stitch. Make sure that your chain is not too tight since we will be working into it. Now, for our next row, we're not going to be working into these loops. We're actually going to be working into the back bumps. So if you see, your chain has kind of like these V's in the front and the bottom. And then if you turn it, you can see the bumps in the back, these right here. So this is going to be where we're working into for this first row. So we're going to start from the second chain from the hook. So this one right here in the back bump. So right here, and we're going to do 5 slip stitches. And then don't make your slip stitches too tight if you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to continue working on these back bumps, but we're going to be doing half double crochets. So 10 of those. Eight, 9, and 10. So for our last one, we're going to be changing colors. So before you yarn over and pull through, go ahead and take your orange or your second color from the back, and yarn over with that color, and then pull through. So you can see that your stitch ends with the first color, but you're ready to start working with the second color. And then we're going to keep our carried yarns on the back of our work, so away from you. So keep your yarns on the back, and we'll keep it on the same side even when we turn. So now we're going to continue working on the back bumps of the chain, and we're going to do half double crochets all the way down. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 3 loops. So just continue doing half double crochets in this back bump all the way down. Okay, I'm on my last stitch. So do a half double crochet in that last stitch, the back bump, and now your row should look like this, with the slip stitches on the end, half double crochets all the way down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and then turn your work. So we're going to be working along the back side now. And for this row, we're going to start working in the back loop only. So if you notice, the top of your stitches has the V. We have the front loop, which is the one towards you, and then the back loop, which is this one back here. So we're going to be working into this loop all the way down, and for the remainder of the pattern. So we're going to do half double crochets in our 25 stitches of this orange color in the back loop only. So just like this, all the way down to the end. And then when we get to the last stitch, we're gonna yarn over with our last part of the stitch. We're gonna finish off pink. So we're changing colors. Okay, so we are getting to our last stitch. So remember to change colors. You're going to finish off your half double crochet with the other color, and remember you're going to want to keep your carried yarns all on the same side. So this time I'm going to pull my yarn towards me, and then I'm going to pick up my pink working yarn, yarn over with that one, and then pull through. So you'll have kind of these connections, but this will be inside of our beanie, so you won't be able to see it. That's why we're keeping them all on the same side. So now we have just changed colors. What I like to do is just to do a regular half double crochet in this first stitch. I think it makes it a cleaner color change. Instead of just working in the back loop only, we're going to work just a regular one through the entire stitch, just like this. So we're going to put it through the front loop and the back loop and do our half double crochet. And I just think it makes it have a cleaner color change instead of just working in the back loop. But for the rest of the stitches, we're going to be doing back loop only. We're only going to do that on the stitch right after we change colors. So now we're going to do half double crochets all the way down, and we're going to do it for until we have 5 stitches left where we're doing our slip stitches. So keep going until you have that 5 stitches left. And then that way our beanie doesn't have too much fabric at the top, so it's going to be easy to close. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches left of our slip stitches. So we're going to do 5 slip stitches in the back loop only of these stitches. So put your hook into the back loop, yarn over and pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so your beanie should look like this right now. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to do 5 slip stitches in the back loop only again. So our first stitch by our hook, we're going to skip that one since that's our turning chain. So on our second stitch from our hook, insert yarn over and pull through 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to continue the rest of this pink row doing half double crochets in the back loop only. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 3 loops. So we'll do this all the way down until we get to our color change. And then on our last stitch to end it off, we're going to finish by yarning over and pulling through with the orange color, just like before. Okay, so we're going to start our stitch, pull through, and now we're going to keep our yarn on the wrong side of us. So on the other side, we're going to take our orange yarn from the back, yarn over with that, and then pull through. Remember to keep all your yarns on the same side. And now for our first stitch after the color change, we're going to do a regular half double crochet, meaning that we're going to go through the full stitch, not just the back loop, just like this. And then for the remainder of the stitches, we're going to do half double crochets, back loop only, just like before. So this is what it looks like right now. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work again. So cute. Okay, now we're going to half double crochet, back loop only, all the way down for this row until we get to our color change. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so for our last stitch, remember we're going to pull our yarn on the same side, so pull it towards you, since that's where our other yarns are. We're going to finish off the stitch with yarning over with our color change color, and then pull through. And then for our first stitch after the color change, we're just going to do a regular half double crochet going through both loops. And then we're going to do the remainder of these stitches with back loop only, half double crochet until we have our 5 stitches left. So continue down the row until you have 5 stitches left. Five stitches left. We're going to do slip stitch in the back loop only for these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's that row. Chain 1 and turn. So now we have our foundation chain and then 4 rows. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat that same going down and back. We're going to do that 4 more times. So then we'll have our chain and then 12 rows. So remember, you're going to do the chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to do 5 slip stitches in the back loop only. Then we're going to do half double crochets in the back loop only. And there should be 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then our color change. So we're going to keep our yarns on the same side. We're going to yarn over and finish the stitch with our orange. And then our first stitch after the color change, we're going to go through the whole stitch, half double crochet, and then we'll have 24 more half double crochets back loop only. So continue just going up and down 4 more times until you have 12. The end of my 12th row, so I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I just finished my 12th row. This is what the yarn, what the side looks like where the yarn is being carried, and this is what the pretty side looks like. So make sure that you have 12 rows. How I do that, since it's ribbed, I like to count kind of like the mountains. And then I count that for 2 rows. You can kind of see this is a row and this is a row. So when I see this little ridge, I know that's 2. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 rows. So yours should look like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change colors. So I haven't chained one yet, since I'm going to change colors with my chain 1. So let's cut our yarns so we can get ready to change color. So now with our chain 1, I'm going to use this orange color to chain 1. So just pull through and turn. And then we'll weave in our ends at the end. So what we're going to do is do the same pattern, but now we're going to do the opposite colors. So we're going to slip stitch, oh, this way wrong, it's not my working yarn. Okay, so I have my working yarn here, let's just tighten that. So we're going to slip stitch back loop only into the first 5 stitches, just like before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to do half double crochets, back loop only. We'll have 10 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then since this is our last stitch, we're going to change color. So to finish off our stitch, we're just going to yarn over and grab this pink yarn and pull through, and then we'll just tighten this at the back, and then we have our working yarn with pink. So then we're just going to continue our pattern here. Remember that since we just changed colors, we're going to do a regular half double crochet in this next stitch. So we're going to go through both loops. And then for the rest of the row, you should have 24 stitches. We're going to do half double crochet in the back loop only. And then remember when you change colors that you want your working yarn and your carried yarn to be all on the other side, since that's the side where our carried yarn was on previously, so we're just keeping it on the same side. Chain 1 and turn, chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to repeat the same pattern as we have done previously. For this section, we're going to be doing the same exact thing, just with our colors switched, and we're going to do it until we have the same amount of rows, so 12 rows. So I'll do this first row with you, and then just go back, and if you need to rewind the video to see the pattern again, and we're just going to continue that for 12 rows. So half double crochet back loop only, all the way up until we change color. There. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. If you are, please make sure that you give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe so you can see more free tutorials. And don't forget to check out my blog where I have the written patterns there if you prefer that. And I have a lot more patterns on there. Okay, we're almost to our color change. Okay, so our color change, we're going to bring our carried yarn on the same side as our other carried yarn, so on this side, and then we're going to take our working yarn of orange to finish off our stitch. Just like that. And now since we just changed colors, we're going to do a regular half double crochet into this first stitch. So we're going to go through both loops, and then do 9 more half double crochets in the back loop only. and now we're going to do 5 stitches with a slip stitch in the back loop only. Just like that. So those are our 2 rows. We're going to go back and forth 5 more times? Yeah, 5 more times, sorry, until we have 12 rows. Just like the same amount of this section, we're going to do another section with these colors. So do until you have 12 rows. Right now we have 2. So do that until you have 12 rows, and then once you do, we'll change colors again. So I'll meet you back when we have 12 rows of this section. Okay, so now I just finished 12 rows of this next section. So this is what your project should look like now. Basically what we're going to do is repeat the same thing again, going back to these 2 colors. So I haven't done my turning chain yet because I'm going to switch colors. So let's go ahead and cut our yarn so we can switch colors. Okay, so I'm going to reattach with pink at the top to do my chain with. So we're going to just take our pink yarn and pull through and turn our work. We're going to make sure that we keep our carried yarns on the same side, and we're going to repeat the same pattern as we have been doing. 5 slip stitch back loop only, 10 half double crochets back loop only. After the color change, we're going to do a regular half double crochet going through both loops, and then all the way down for the rest we're going to do half double crochets back loop only. So let's do that. So 5 slip stitch back loop only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then half double crochet back loop only in the next 10, 7, 8, 9, and now for our 10th one, our color change, we're going to do it to finish off the stitch. So for our last yarn over before we pull through, we're going to use our next color, which is orange, and then just pull the ends tight so you're ready to continue working. Now remember, this stitch is going to go through both loops, half double crochet, just because I think it makes the color change look a lot cleaner when you're doing back loop only. And then we'll do the rest back loop only, half double crochet. So again, it's just the same pattern that we've been doing. What we're going to do is 12 rows of this color block, and then for our last 12 rows we're going to switch colors back again, and that's what's going to give us our checkerboard. So again, if you need to just rewind the video to go back to how to change colors or just how to repeat the rows, it's going to be the same all the way through. So go ahead and complete this 12 row section, and then remember to change colors after that, and then do 12 more rows. And then once you're done doing 12 rows of that next color section, then I'll come back will join up again, and then I'll show you how to cut your tails. We're going to want to have sort of long tails. That way we can use it to seam, and then I'm going to show you how to seam your beanie closed so it looks invisible. You're not going to be able to see the seam. And then after that, we're going to cinch up the top of the beanie, so I'll show you how to do that as well. And then weave in your ends and we're done. So we're almost there. We're about halfway there right now, since we have 2 sections. In the end, we're going to have 4 sections to make our checkerboard. So again, just continue this pattern, and then I will meet up with you once we are ready to start seaming. All right, so we have our beanie. We have 4 sections, 12 rows each. This is the outside. Now we need to just seam up the sides and cinch the top and then weave in our ends. So how we're going to seam the sides is we're going to use our tails. So cut a pretty long tail of your orange, and your pink, you're going to want the same length of this, a little bit longer. So I'm going to cut my tail about this long. Now fasten off your yarn, make a slip stitch and pull through your orange. And get your needle out. I'm going to show you how we make this seam pretty invisible. So we're going to be working with the outsides facing out. Go ahead and thread your yarn onto your needle like this, and then fold it over so you have your stitches kind of next to each other. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew through this front loop on this side, and then when we come to the back side, we're going to go through both loops like that and pull through, and repeat that all the way down. So the front loop on the front panel and then both loops on the back panel, just like that. Make sure you pull it tight. So front loop on this, and then both loops on the back panel, and make sure that your stitches, you're going through the right stitch on both sides so it lines up perfectly. And then just keep doing this all the way till you get to the end of this orange section, or whatever color you're using. And then we will switch off and use our next tail. That way you can't really see it once we fold our hat inside out. I find that when I just do like a single crochet to seam up the sides of the beanies, you can see where the seam is. So that's why I like doing this method. Make sure I have the same amount of stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So when I seam it up this way, you can't see where the seam is. It blends in pretty good. So I like that just a little bit better, and I think it's worth it to get the needle out and sew. Okay, so for the last stitch, we're going to do the same thing. Pull through. Now, make sure it's nice and tight. Now we're going to take our pink tail, thread that through your needle like this, and then continue doing the same process, going through the front loop here, and then the 2 back loops on the back panel, just like that. And make sure that you're pulling it tight. And do this all the way down. Then I'll show you how to cinch the top. It's really easy. And then weave in your ends and you're done. through my last loop here and both loops here. Pull through. So here's your seam on the outside. I'll show you how it looks on this side. So here's where the seam is. Notice how it kind of just blends in. You can't really tell. I love that. Okay, now we're gonna cinch the top. We're gonna be working on the outside, or on the wrong side. Now I'm gonna have to cut another yarn because my tails are too short up here. So if you have to do that, that's fine. I'm gonna cut a yarn that's about this long, about 12 or 15 inches. You don't need it to be that long. Now thread it through your needle. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the top loops of this, every other loop, and then just pull through. So what I'm gonna start with is just to pull this through the top loop, and I'm gonna go through this one twice just because I think it makes it more secure. And now we're gonna go through just every other loop in and out and try and just keep one yarn. Just go through like the top loop so it's not so bulky, and then I'm gonna come back in a few stitches down and just keep doing that all the way around. Okay, so this is where we started, and this is where we're at. So let's go through just a couple more loops so we can tie off our yarn. Okay, so here, this is the fun part. We're just gonna wanna pull this tail as tight as you can. And notice how it cinches up at the top. And I like to hold on to the starting tail too, just so I can kind of secure it. See how that hole closed up? So pull super tight, and then I like to tie a knot with itself. Like this. And then your hole's closed up. I'm gonna trim this a little bit. Now we can flip out our beanie. We'll just have to weave in our ends. And then we could fold up our brim. And then now we have our beautiful checkerboard beanie. So fun. With the pink and orange colors. And then when you fold up the brim, you can still see that it has that checker pattern all the way around. And let's try it on. All right, that's our beanie. I'll show you how it looks off. Don't mind my crazy hair. Beautiful checkerboard, evenly, you know, distributed. I don't know how to say it. Kind of equal parts checkerboard. When you fold it up, you can still see the checkerboard pattern, and it still matches. Pretty cute. I like to wear it either like this with the line kind of in the front, or it's super cute too like this where you're kind of centered like that. Do a little try on. So I'm really obsessed. This is about how much yarn that we have left. So just about perfect. It's a great pattern to use your scrap yarns with. And if you want to check out my other beanie patterns, I do have just a solid brim, solid ribbed beanie, a patchwork beanie, which is a little bit like this. And then I also have a patchwork beanie with the accent brim. So that's where this is a different color, which is super cute too, and a great way to use up your scraps. And again, thank you so much for being here. It would mean the world to me if you could like this video, comment, and subscribe. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so I'd appreciate that. And also check out my blog and my Instagram. I post free patterns there all the time, and if you sign up for my email list, you can get a free PDF pattern. And if you want to purchase any of my patterns as a PDF, you can do so on my Etsy. And I'm just going to link everything below. Again, thank you for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.